Hello, it's Mark from Cars and Cameras, and today we're going to look at some gimbals. And today I have the new Pilotfly C45, so we're going to take a look at that, and we're also going to compare that against Zhiyun Crane-M. I've heard a lot of wonderful things about this gimbal, so let's go ahead and take them out of the box and see what we have. Okay, so the Pilotfly comes in this nice pouch. You can wear it, and the nice thing about this is when you can have your camera mounted on the gimbal. So if you have your Sony camera like the RX100 series, or one of the smaller Canons, I like the Sony because it can do the 4K. You can have the camera mounted on it, so you don't have to like rebalance it and do things like that, so it's kind of cool. Okay, so the Zhiyun Crane comes in this nice little case. Now the downside to this gimbal is that I found that once I had the gimbal set up, adjusted the way I wanted it to, I am not able to have the gimbal go back in the case. It doesn't fit. So basically I have to kind of recollapse it, and that's not good. So with the Zhiyun Crane, if you have another case, you're going to have to use that if you want to leave the gimbal set up, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. Okay, so here's the two gimbals. As you can see, let me pull back a little bit here. You can see the Zhiyun Crane-M is a little bit bigger. This is where the batteries go for the Zhiyun Crane. It takes these two lithium cells, which are pretty easy to get and fairly inexpensive. The thing is about this crane is the battery life is exceptional. I used this crane for, I would say, about 3 hours, and when I connected it to the app, it tells you how charged up the unit is. The unit was at 94%, so the Zhiyun Crane is going to go all day. I didn't have as best of battery life with the C45, and also the Pilotfly, this gimbal, the maximum weight really that it's going to be able to take is a camera like this, basically, like one of these Sony RX cameras or something equivalent. That's about it. Now, on the Zhiyun Crane-M, it can take the weight of not only a Sony camera like this, but it can also take the weight of the bigger mirrorless cameras. Another thing is, I found that the setup on the Pilotfly, and I am experienced with using these. I've used some of the first and second generation gimbals that have been around for a few years, and I found that it was more time consuming to set this one up compared to this one. Okay, so this is what it looks like comparing the two gimbals. You can see the size of them. Right now both gimbals are rusting, they're not on. The balance on them is pretty good even when they're turned off. So let's start with the Pilotfly. So looking at the Pilotfly, you can see with the motor on that 45-degree angle, you can see the screen is pretty much, you have a full view of it, which is really nice, and that's a great feature of the Pilotfly, and makes that pretty simple. As you can see also, the Pilotfly is a little bit smaller, doesn't attract so much attention. The Zhiyun Crane's a little bit bigger. Now comparing the two, the quality of the two, the build quality, the Zhiyun Crane, the build quality seems to be a little bit nicer. And I would say just comparing the plastic, on the handle of the Pilotfly. Now you can see when you look at the Sony A6500 mounted on this gimbal on the Zhiyun Crane-M, you can see that the screen is being blocked a little bit, by the motor. This newer design, having it that way. Now I will tell you that I think there might be a little bit of performance difference having it mounted like this, because this gimbal didn't seem to be as smooth as this one in my tests. Also, if you're comparing, as I talked about earlier, the weights, the heaviest camera you're going to be able to use on the Pilotfly C45 is going to be a camera like the RX100 Mark V. Okay, so let's take a look at some footage. Now this is the Pilotfly C45, and you can see when you have some subjects in the foreground, it does a pretty good job. I noticed a little bit of bounce to it on this uneven path, but you can see with nothing in the foreground, you can see that bounce there. And I wasn't really trying to do the ninja walk
It was trying to walk as smoothly as I could, but without doing the ninja walk. But all in all, this gimbal is a pretty good gimbal. The real downside to it is you can't put a heavier camera on it really than an RX 100 series camera. So if you upgrade to a bigger camera, you're not going to be able to use this gimbal.
And the nice thing about the Zhiyun Crane is you'll be able to use cameras like the RX 100, Mark 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, or you can jump up and use a camera like I have on here, the Sony A6500. And I also have mounted on it the Sony 10 to 18, and I'll show you some video of that.
Okay, so this is the Zhiyun Crane-M with the Sony A6500 and the Sony 10 to 18 millimeter lens. And the first thing that I noticed when I started using this crane compared to the Pilotfly C45 is it's quite a bit smoother. Like I said, the motors are a lot more robust, a lot stronger, and really no matter how hard I pushed it, how I was walking, how I moved, the gimbal always kept the perfect horizon. And that's one thing, if you ever used a Steadicam, a real Steadicam, or even any other type of stabilizer, the goal is to keep a perfect horizon, because otherwise it makes people seasick seeing the picture drift back and forth. But you can see it's really good. And this is right after I got the gimbal, just taking a quick sample, testing it out. And the more you use it, the better and better you're going to get with it. And for me, this is the gimbal to get, because even if you have that smaller Sony camera and you graduate to a bigger camera, you're not going to be replacing your gimbal. So that's a cool thing. Okay, so there's a quick look at the two gimbals. Like I say, there's another quick look at the Pilotfly C45 on the right with the little Sony RX camera. Very stealthy setup. If you want something small, that's a good choice. Or if you have a bigger camera and you want maximum picture quality, the 6500 with a nice lens on it with the Zhiyun Crane-M is a good choice. Guys, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, be here sure to hit that subscribe button. I have a lot more videos coming up very soon, a lot of cool cameras reviewing. See you soon and have a wonderful day.